busted in. We broke down the door, we came to win. TLA Season 4, it's a whole new game. We the agents of change, whole new scope with a whole new range. It didn't exist, so we built our own lane. We all knew the risk, it's a cold ass game. But first and foremost, we reppin' the fans because we nothing but fans living out our dreams. Crossing the pond with these 32 teams. There's only one road and there's only 5 kings.
Welcome to 32 Kings Road, hosted by the League Ambassadors. I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken, and it is my pleasure to be here today with every single one of my brothers. Sir. This is episode 77.
Every single one?
Every single one. And on today's show, we have Chef Curry, if you couldn't tell. Bomb Squad! And so, of course, we're happy to have him in studio with us. Also, the NFL is celebrating its 100th anniversary, and so we are going to pay our respects or show our respects by not highlighting the top 100 players. They got Bill Belichick and Chris Collinsworth for that, but we are going to highlight who we feel are the worst 100 players. We're going to start that. The despicable ones. This will be a recurring theme for the rest of this season of 32 Kings Road, but we'll get that started today, as well as talk about our check-in on our Secure the Bag nominees. There's a Thanksgiving game, so we'll talk a little bit about those Thanksgiving games and some big matchups on this weekend. As a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Also, please check out our website, theleagueam.com. Shout out to Chief Diplomat Nick Blackman holding down our blog spot online, Diplomatic Immunity, which you can find on our website, theleagueam.com. Also, please subscribe to and rate our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors. I will start with you, Chef Curry. What you sipping on, sir?
Gentlemen, I am sipping on this Blue Moon that Devin so thoughtfully hooked us all up with. Keep it history related as I've been. November 29th, 1934. Omar, you'll like this. The Detroit Lions started their tradition of playing on Thanksgiving. And on that day, 1934, the Bears beat them 19-16, and they'll meet again this Thursday. I won't be up to watch it, but good luck.
You probably beat them by the same score.
Pretty much.
Redo, what you sipping on, sir?
The goose.
You are.
Duck.
The duck
goose.
And duck. So, with that in mind, I'm sipping on things just coming together. I am sipping on Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Listen,
of course.
This is 6 weeks in a row, guys. You got to come talk to me. But also, I'm sipping on just everything coming together. We'll just start with last Tuesday. We had Bjorn in, a fan of American football, someone that we have been able to establish a relationship with, and then coming in with Chef Curry coming into town. We've been able to capture some good footage for a project that we are working on, which we'll talk about in the days and the weeks to come. And went to the game last night. Great tailgate. The Ravens absolutely beat the dog shit out of the Rams, but it was a fun environment. And to cap it all off, we're walking back to the car, me, Dev, and Kev, and who do we run into? Bjorn.
Yep.
Just randomly.
And you accosted him.
So yeah, it was just one of those moments where you just realize like you're doing the right things and everything is working out, and he had a good time, and so we were able actually to capture that footage as well. So yeah, just everything working out. Dad, what you sipping on, sir?
All I know is, well, first, same thing, Belgian White, Blue Moon. All I know is, if I can't take you to the fight, I can't fuck with you. And you need to get down where you mad at.
You get down where you mad at.
But what I'll sip on is this amazing stat that my Baltimore Ravens have punted 4 times in the month of November. And we haven't punted on a Lamar Jackson possession in even longer than that.
It's black excellence.
It's gonna be a long final 2 months.
Insufferable.
Insufferable.
Nah, it won't be.
Junior Blue, what you sipping on, sir?
Because of the tailgating yesterday, I'm sipping on water today.
That's why you so far away.
Because I need to be.
Oh shit!
Oh, okay.
I just looked now.
You didn't know he didn't have his pants on?
After going to the game last night, I'm going to have to say this. Lamar Jackson's the MVP. Sorry, Russell Wilson. Ain't nothing they can do with him. From the accuracy of his passes to the fact that he looks like he's faster than everybody else on the field and he knows when to run, it's nothing you can do with him.
That's the key part. He has cracked the code.
Yes.
If Les keeps complimenting us like this, then we have perfect reason to be insufferable because Les has never given us credit
At
in
all.
4-year history.
But I've told you the truth every single time.
That's what he does.
Hey, Nate. And I'm being generous. Redo, what you sipping on, sir?
I'm actually sipping on some regular Lipton hot tea.
Showing your age.
A little honey. But I'm sipping on the NBA. We're gonna do a check-in, but I'm also sipping on the fact that social media, which is known that can be a hateful place. It's where things can brew and people who hate each other or who love to hate can come together and germinate.
We have a whole segment for that shit too.
Right. But they've done a study that since the NBA season started, apparently there has been close to 1/3 less hate on social media platforms. And the reason is because the Lakers are so fucking good you can't even hate on them no more.
Is that a question?
It was a motherfucking statement. I'm just saying. But I just want to fuck with y'all a little bit. So let's do this check-in. As y'all ruminate on that. So 17 games in. We pretty much know who the contenders are. I think there's 5 in the East, 6 in the West. You got the Bucks, Celtics, Heats, Raptors, and 76ers in the East. Lakers, Nuggets, Clips, Mavs, Rockets, and Jazz in the West. Pretty much at this point, you can see the cream rising to the top. So 17 games in, what you've seen so far. Who is your biggest surprise? And that could be a disappointment too, but just a surprise.
I'll start. I don't know if I can call this a surprise, but the fact that Ja Morant weighs 127 pounds, and there was literally no learning curve from Murray State to right now. His game just translated immediately. We knew he was NBA ready, but he's at another level. And the fact that he doesn't have to gain a single pound to play with the big dogs,
It would help.
it would definitely. Oh, if he puts some weight on, it's a wrap.
He's gonna grow into his natural body. You can see that. His athleticism. I mean, again, if you paid attention to him in college, you saw it. But his athleticism is something that I don't even think that NBA players expect it, and they have to now make an adjustment to. He's been phenomenal. I agree with that. I'm happy Carmelo's back in the league, and I would add that to your list of contenders in the West. I would definitely put Portland back up there. I've said for the last 2 years, I felt like Portland would have been a good spot for Carmelo because they need that third perimeter-based player. It's just that they, this season, have had other needs. How about just bodies in the front court? And so it's put them in a place combined with what Carmelo has gone through the last 2 years to where now they feel like they need each other. And I think that that's going to continue to pay dividends throughout the season.
Well, let's stick with the Trailblazers because they're 12th right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we
6 and
always
12.
yeah.
They were my biggest disappointment.
Exactly. We know how we can go, and we know how the story ends every season for them. But to be 12th, and you got the injuries and them just not playing well. Now adding Melo, It's just weird that they would start off like this. Because what was it, two seasons ago when they jumped out the gate like 17-1 or something like that?
They've had a lot of injuries though. I mean, they're literally their entire front court has been decimated. Hassan Whiteside, when he's played, has played well, but Zach Collins separated shoulder. We still don't know when Nurkic is coming back. And they paid Rodney Hood, and they're finding out who Rodney Hood.
I believe you
no
brought
one
that
else
up. You talked about that in the playoffs last night.
So I do think, again, I think they're turning around. But yeah, certainly, 6-12. I don't think that you could find a fan in Portland that would have expected that at all.
Two people who have surprised me. Luka's dominance. Like, literally, he looks next level already in year
And that's
two.
not his last name, but it could be his last name. Luka
Exactly.
Dominance.
Like, and Wiggins.
Yeah.
Like, did something click for Wiggins?
Because all of us treated like a bitch.
Because all of a sudden, it's like, this is what you were supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's playing like it.
7 years
It's
ago.
like he woke up and was like, I'm 6'8".
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
athletic.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that, and I'm probably putting my foot in my mouth by saying this, but as far as the Western Conference goes, anything outside of LA in terms of a team that anyone should really be considering that could make a push? Well, at least let's say Western Conference Finals. I don't want to talk about winning the conference, but outside of the two teams in LA, anyone in the West that makes you think, oh shoot, we should probably look out for them.
If depending on when Nurkic and or Zach Collins, because I mean they did go to the Western Conference Finals. I don't believe in Denver.
No one
They
does.
look nice,
It's just,
but
it's like they built for the regular season.
yeah, and just
The experience last year should be good for
the
them.
backcourt, just I don't get it. And they also are a team that could have used a Carmelo, right? So that's, you put them to the side. Houston, to your point about being built for regular season, that's as good as it gets. So enjoy that. But I would say maybe Portland if they can get their guys back. Otherwise, I agree with you. I think it is an LA Conference Finals.
When are the Kings going to start being what we think that they're going to be?
They have also had injuries.
Yep.
Fox got hurt. They lost Bagley, I think, the first week of the season. And I mean, Luke is a good coach.
He almost choked on it.
Luke is a good coach. That's a good situation. I just think that they don't know which direction they want to go as an
It's been
organization.
16 years. They need to go
It's
one
time,
way.
it's time to make a decision.
Are you guys surprised about the Heat at all? Being that high?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy's working, huh?
I don't even think it's Jimmy. Kendrick Nunn.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Like,
Came out of nowhere.
well, the Heat, I guess, amongst teams in the NBA, the Heat and the Warriors are organizations that are known for really doing well in terms of scouting in the G League. And Nunn was somebody that the Warriors were trying to hide because they knew how good he was. But because of 10 days or the way the G League contracts work, they had to basically, because they're hard capped, they had to put him out in the water. And Miami got him, and he's been a big surprise. They drafted Tyler Hero, who's been really good. And I mean, Spoelstra's a good coach, So yeah, and Dragic has he's accepted his role in terms of coming off the bench, but he's back to being that 15 to 20 point scorer coming off the bench for them. They've got something going in Miami. Bam Adebayo is a really good player. So yeah, they are surprising that they're good. But I think that there's a clear sort of, I would say Toronto, the success that they've had and continue to have and how good they look, that's an even bigger surprise, I think, in the East.
Has anybody checked Twitter today to see if Kat said anything about Embiid last night yet? Anybody?
Joel Embiid went 0 for 11, and he was a
No
terrible game.
rebounds, no
Yeah, he didn't hit a free throw.
What's happening to Joel Embiid, huh? I know he looks like, he always strikes me as somebody has a weight problem and he's always teetering, but I feel like, I don't know, like I think he's okay with potential.
like Carl Anthony
Well,
Towns.
the doctors tell him to fall all the time. They tell him it's better. That's why he falls so much. Because that it's putting less stress on his injuries or possible injuries for his foot. So they tell him to fall.
But why is he busting ass? Like he should be a dominant
Because
player.
he's getting the ball at the fucking top of the key.
Yeah, he probably got 2 or 3 of those possessions in the paint. It's like if you remember how the playoffs ended last year, we all know what the missing piece is in his game. Not for just them, a team as a whole, but for his game specifically. You that big, you that skilled, you got to get in the paint, bro.
But with Ben Simmons hitting threes now, does that open things up? Open up the floor for
A3. Did they put a banner up for that shit yet?
You guys are mean.
All right, let's get on to our NFL's worst 100. So as I said before, and if you go to the NFL Network, I think they've actually started like calling out. I think they're going by positions. What we're going to do is we're going to go by teams. So there are 32 teams in the NFL. We're going to pick the 3 worst players, who we think the 3 worst players are from each team. And then our last show after the Super Bowl, we will nominate and acknowledge who we feel are the 4 worst players overall. So as far as the teams go, I think it makes sense, especially since Kev is here, that we just go to each ambassador, their favorite team. So we know Redo is a Bears fan. We know the Ravens brothers, Baltimore all day. And then we've got Junior Blue with the Raiders. And so I will start with you, Junior Blue. Now, here was the criteria. Very simple. The players that you choose, they must have at least started 16 games for that organization, and they needed to have played for the team for at least 3 years. So, Junior Blue, who are the 3 worst players for the Raiders?
I know where this is going.
I'm gonna leave the one you know for last.
We gonna see his name again, I'm pretty sure.
So I'm gonna start off with Robert Gallery.
Shit.
Number 2 pick in 2004.
Yeah.
Al Davis liked his look. Long hair, tattoos, 330 pounds, 6'8", ran a sub 540. But couldn't play left tackle to save his life. They ended up having to move him to left guard. It didn't work well either. And what made it worse is when they drafted him, you had Phillip Rivers drafted after him. You had Ben Roethlisberger drafted after him. And we came into the season with Kerry Collins and Marcus Tuiasosopo as our QBs.
Marcus Tuiasosopo.
Wow.
And we drafted
You can drop
Robert
some
Gallery.
old names I heard in a minute.
So, I mean, and
He went to Washington, right?
Yeah. And so yeah, Robert Gallery's definitely up there. He was supposed to be a left tackle.
Kirk Ferentz is a college coach that is highly respected amongst pros, and Iowa had turned out some good linemen.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember. That's crazy. Robert Gallery. Okay.
Okay. And then next up is Mark Wilson. He is
Oh,
Hold on. Now, if you want to say a Raiders heyday, let's say between 1980 to 1984. Let's say, 2 Super Bowls in that time, both won by Jim Plunkett. Right? Well, in 1980, they drafted Mark Wilson. And after Plunkett won the Super Bowl, they benched him and put in Mark Wilson. He started for the Raiders. He never completed more than 57% of his passes, never threw for more than 2,600 yards. And then this is the kicker. He gets hurt in the 1983 season. They put Jim Plunkett back in. They win another Super Bowl.
Wow.
So Mark Wilson, he's up there as one of the worst players.
So my question: who did Jim Plunkett pluck to get benched for a guy named Mark Wilson?
And when you say pluck,
you feel me?
It might be the same person Marcus Allen did. And then number 1 and quite possibly
the number one
overall has to be Jamarcus Russell.
Oh man.
The number 1 draft pick in 2007. Several people told the Raiders not to select him. He went home with videotape saying that I saw what was on the videotape. I know all the plays, everything to do. The videotape was blank. And they still drafted him. And then he proceeds to start over the next 3 seasons. He started 25 games, going 7-18 with 18 touchdowns and 23 interceptions and never completing more than 51% of his passes. So yeah, He
That
is-
shit lasted 3 years.
They gave the man $35 million.
Ah.
So yeah, those are the 3 worst that fit all the criteria.
That's a cold story. They gave him the tape of plays for him to learn.
Go back and study.
Go back and study. And they knew it was blank.
And tell us what you think tomorrow.
Oh man.
And he comes back and says, I know all them plays. No, they work for me.
He does know how to play.
They work for me. I can do them
Hey,
all.
he wasn't wrong.
He wasn't.
He could do every single play on that tape.
That's why you're a starter.
Oh my god.
All right, Johnson brothers, you guys have the Baltimore Ravens. I think you have 2 of the same, and then Kevin has a special third one, and Devin has a special third one. So give me the 2 that you guys share, and you guys take it away.
There's nothing special about those gentlemen, but we'll get there in a moment. So we both agreed that Mr. Matt Elam out of Florida was drafted first round,
Safety.
32nd overall pick in 2013 to replace who? Ed Reed. He had a solid first season, but after that, Mr. Elam could not stay out of trouble on and off the field. On the field, he had trouble tackling and covering. He was brought in to tackle as a strong safety, and he probably missed more tackles in the 2 years that he was on our team than anyone I can remember in recent history. And then in 2017, I think he got arrested twice in the same year. Once for possession, he had like 120-something grams of marijuana, and then the second time it was for like assault or battery against
he
his
was trapping.
girlfriend. Yeah, over like a cell phone or something, probably. Yeah. glad we got out from under that. But yeah, Matt Elam was he was bad.
He was absolutely trash. When you come in and have to replace the shoes of Ed Reed, and Mr. Ed Reed has over 60 interceptions in his career, and I'll go as far as to say, like, no, he didn't have a good first season. He was fucking trash then too.
As a rookie, it was
He played 3 seasons, which just barely makes the minimum requirement, and those are his only 3 seasons in the entire league. And he had 1 interception
That's it.
playing safety.
on our defense when everyone gets interceptions.
And the thing that pisses me off is that he was drafted the 32nd pick. This is the year after we win the Super Bowl. With the 33rd pick, I mean, he's not a world beater, but he's still playing today. We could have had Jonathan Cyprien. That would have been a lot better than that.
Anything is an upgrade over 127 grams of.
So the second person that we share, and I'll just tee this up.
Well, I was, because even Omar agrees he's on the list.
Yeah,
I
no,
would say
I'll tee it
you
up because you wanted to rock off, and then Omar can chime in because he did his homework.
do your
Nah,
thing.
please. This is a group effort.
You're right. Because mine's going to be fast.
we got places to be.
With the 19th pick in the 2003 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens selected quarterback Kyle Bowler from California.
He can throw 60 yards from his knee.
Kyle should have been a bowler because he was an NFL quarterback.
Kyle went 20-27
Okay.
as a starter.
Okay.
48 touchdowns, 54 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Never threw more than 13 touchdowns in the season. Take it away, Kev.
I want to go back to the point that Omar brought up because this is what stands out to Baltimore fans, that Brian Billick liked this kid out of Cal because he could throw the ball 60 yards from his knees. Now, this is 2003, so I was 12. I remember specifically hearing this and thinking, well, a quarterback can't throw from his knees because that means he's sacked. So if this is the measuring stick in terms of competent quarterback play, we're fucked. But no, we brought him in. We brought him in, and the idea was, hey, just don't fuck up the money. We don't need you to be great. Just man the ship while our defense and our special teams and Jamal Lewis runs up and down the field. Kyle struggled to do that. What I remember the most was that he couldn't stay healthy, and we kind of had this back and forth between him and Steve McNair, between who's going to start, who's going to play. Kyle would show flashes, and then we always bring up Mark Sanchez's butt fumble, but if you remember, Kyle had a play where he took the snap, he dropped the snap, and bent down to pick it up and kicked it back 15 yards. And at that point, my dad was like, we need to draft a new quarterback. Kyle struggled. So he played all 16 games only once with us. But what stands out, and Omar, I feel your pain on this, was that 2 years later, we decided to not draft Aaron Rodgers and go with Mark Clayton because we thought we had a quarterback. So you can imagine what a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers would have accomplished on that defense, that running game, those special teams.
Wow.
How many great Ravens players' primes of their career was wasted on Kyle Bowler, and it never happened. But thank God he fucked up the money. We got him cut, Brian Billick fired, and it started the Joe Flacco, John Harbaugh era. So
that's interesting. That's really interesting. But the question I have about Aaron Rodgers, real quick, is Aaron Rodgers the player? Is Aaron Rodgers the player that he is because he sat behind Brett Favre?
Yes, 100%. I think that.
Because if he goes to Baltimore, because when you said it off the rip, I'm like, yo, that's like 4 or 5 Super Bowls.
But then he also doesn't have to do as much with that team.
And also, didn't Brett Favre say, "I ain't teaching you"?
Yeah. Well, what he said was, "It's not my job to teach him to take my spot."
Which it isn't, but we didn't listen. Ray Lewis told Trent Dilfer, "Y'all scored 10 points, we're gonna win the Super Bowl."
I remember him saying that, and that's audacious.
I was there. I remember. I heard it. Aaron Rodgers could have given us, a touchdown and 2 field goals for 10 years. That's all we needed. But
Interesting.
Kyle should have been a bowler.
Interesting. Dev, your third one?
My special person.
Yep.
Okay, so in 2015, with the 26th overall pick, we decided to draft a quarterback out of the University of Central Florida. His father played in the NFL as a receiver. His name is Brashad Perryman. The very first day of training camp in 2015, he gets hurt. The very first day. Tried to come back in September for a game and got hurt in warm-ups. So our first round pick, by the way, 2015 is the worst Ravens season ever. Me and Kev came up with the nickname the Loch Ness Monster because we never seen this motherfucker. He had one play in practice that they kept showing on the highlights, and then he was gone
For 2 years.
So he didn't make his debut until 2016. And we should have knew that this was an issue because in the combine, he did not participate because he had a hurt hamstring. He was perpetually hurt. So our franchise history of drafting receivers has been absolutely dog shit. The only good receivers we ever had was an old dog that was finishing up his career. He wasn't available. And when he was available, he was tipping up balls to be picked off for pick sixes.
Trash.
He was fucking terrible. And then he tried to ruin our season last year playing with the Browns.
I think he's still there, actually.
No, he's in Tampa.
Oh, he's in Tampa with Bruce.
Why are you still tracking him?
We got to see where that motherfucker is.
So I kept it receiver related, of course, because this is the one dark spot on the Ravens draft history, roster history. I went with an even more egregious, if you can imagine, at least in my opinion, even more egregious choice during the draft, and that was Mr. Travis Taylor in the year 2000.
Florida.
Out of Florida.
You got to stay away from the University of Florida.
Listen, Matt Elam, Brashad Perriman, I'd sense a theme here. So we drafted him 10th overall. He caught 45 or more passes once in the 5 seasons he was here.
Okay.
But what makes this worse, and you guys weren't around for this conversation, but Devin, do you know what other wide receiver was in this draft that we could have drafted and been better off than with Travis Taylor?
Please tell.
Todd Pinkston.
Oh, shit.
Skinny was over early. Listen,
Skinny Pink Todd.
all we needed for Mr. Pink Slip
Yeah.
was to give us 2 seasons of 45 catches, and it would have been a better choice than Travis Taylor.
Wow.
And Travis Taylor, in my opinion, started our trend of drafting terrible wide receivers because it went Travis Taylor, Mark Clayton over Aaron Rodgers, Brashad Perriman
Over anybody.
We could have just decided not to pick there and been better off than what we ended up doing. Man, listen, we struggled with wide receivers, but I think we got a pretty good one this past year.
Hollywood.
All right, Redo, your Chicago Bears.
All right. I know we pressed for time, so I'm going to keep this quick.
This just in.
He wants to be real generous.
Yeah, we got somebody here, so, first we got 2 Penn Staters on here. which
Oh,
so-
I know one of them.
so I'm gonna start with in 3 seasons, one forced fumble, 5 sacks. Mr. Michael Haynes.
Wow.
In that draft, we actually had 2 busts. Like, how horrible do you have to be? Because that's the same draft we drafted Sexy Rexy. But at the very least, he lasted long enough to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So
Well said, by the way. He lasted long enough to go to the Super Bowl.
I knew what I was talking about. They actually drafted Haynes to take over for Alex Brown, which was retarded because he was still playing at a high level. When they drafted him, he couldn't sniff the field playing behind Alex Brown. And then the next year, Lovey comes in.
Hey, Lovey.
And Lovey said, nah, we're going to switch you from a DN to a tackle. He couldn't get on the field. In his senior year at Penn State, he had 15 sacks. 15. And in 5 years in the NFL, he had a total of 7, 5 with the Bears. And that is a prospect. Like, most of them came in the game where he was in Lovey Smith's defense with a bunch of hogs. And, he has been washed out the league ever since. I would have had Cade McNown on this list, but he only played with the Bears for 2 years. So
Honorable mention.
he was the worst pick. This one is more recent, but I think he deserves because he was, I think, the number 7 pick, Mr. Kevin White.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you see, we got so many you fucking forget about.
We were trying to see where you're going. When
You said recent.
Listen. That history is still being written.
that book is closed.
I'm gonna at least wait till the contract
Epilogue.
is up. I'm gonna wait till the contract is up. Kevin White came in 2015. High draft expectations. Was it Virginia?
Yeah.
West
West Virginia.
Virginia. Missed his fucking entire rookie season with a shin injury before appearing in just 4 games in his second season. Somebody tell me how many touchdowns the man got as a Bear. Come on, tell me.
1.
0.
Yeah, I
The
was gonna say
one you
0.
thought he had was preseason. Yes. He did remain healthy all of last season, but then Ryan Pace, he signed Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller, and even Josh Bellamy. He ended his Bears career with 25 catches for 282 yards, without scoring a touchdown. 19 of his receptions came in 4 games, and he had 25 receptions.
I remember someone telling me who was a fan of West Virginia that he could only line up on the right side of the field because he couldn't turn the other way.
Why?
I mean, we lined him up on both sides, but I guess he did line up over there. But he didn't play that much, so it's not like...
I mean, this isn't Zoolander where you can't turn one way, bro. You are a receiver.
Yeah.
How do you draft these players that have these very obvious?
Because he put up stupid numbers at West
You
Virginia.
got a
And who was
habitual
his
liar.
quarterback?
You got a habitual liar. You have somebody that never is healthy. And now you have somebody that can only turn one way, which I don't care what position you play on the football field.
Gotta be able to turn.
You got to be able to turn. That's crazy. And he was 7th.
7th. So, next guy. When hoe-ass Joe Paterno calls you a con man,
Oh, wow.
you know you a con man. So, season 1, he gets drafted 1998. Ahead of Fred Taylor. Ahead of Randy Moss. Who actually we were thinking about picking, but Randy Moss missed a breakfast meeting, so they went with the con man.
I wouldn't want to go to Chicago either.
He went to fucking minutes anyway. It almost went down.
Thank God for tea.
When he got drafted, he came in, said all the right things, had a suit on, said he loved God. He's here to learn from the veterans. Just wants to play hard. He's a team guy. So forget what happened during the
I
season.
think I know this is.
By season 2, he showed up in beginning of the season at training camp. He showed up in cut off prison jumpsuit with cut off arms and a Humvee, bumping. and was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. So basically, he was trying to sell people, and that's when Joe Paterno called him a con man. And I'm talking about none other than Mr. Enos, Mr. Curtis Enos.
That's what I thought.
So he averaged 3.2 yards a carry. And as the Bears were trying to figure out what to do with him, he wanted to hold out for a contract negotiation, then had a season-ending injury, came back and averaged less than 2 yards a carry. Then decided to try and be a fullback because
I wasn't gonna stop eating.
I'm 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And couldn't get 1 yard a carry. And again, we drafted him over Randy Moss and Fred Taylor. Yikes. And the funny thing is with the Bears, you keep fucking going. Like there's arguments. Like top 10, baby, that's a whole show.
But Omar Hour.
I don't even need to be here for that shit. But besides your 3-year thing, I would have had Caveman out in there. But these are 3 good ones.
All right, so we will continue this throughout the rest of this season for 32 Kings Road, eventually counting down to our 4 worst to have the 100. But that's a good group to start off with. As we do every season, it's about that time. This is week 13. There are a collection of teams that are done. They're just playing out the string.
Is you done or is you done?
Is you finished or is you done? Are you both? And so what we like to do is the fall, people start getting sick, flu season. These are sick teams, and we want to give some prescriptions for the sick ones.
Despicable.
And so for this round, we are calling the Cincinnati Bengals in. We're calling the Denver Broncos in. We're calling the Miami Dolphins in. We're calling the football team in Washington in. We're calling in the New York Giants and, sadly, the Atlanta Falcons. We'll start.
Fight for my fucking life. Such a good inside joke.
We'll start in Cincinnati with the Bengals. Redo, they haven't won a game yet.
I appreciate you.
They haven't won a game yet. Just announced, I think yesterday, that they're sitting the rookie back down and going back to Andy Dalton. Andy, the redhead rifle is back.
How they gonna trade him to the Bears if they don't play him?
Wasn't Kenyon talking about the Bengals don't need a quarterback?
Yeah, they don't need to draft a quarterback. They like Ryan Finley.
Yeah.
Listen.
Cut it off. Top.
26 in overall offense, 20th in passing, 28th in rushing, last in overall defense, 21st in pass defense, last in rush defense.
It's all bad.
So, saying all that, you got to start with coaching, right? So, Zach Taylor, head coach Zach Taylor, who was the last of McVay's friends.
Hey, and the dust is coming off of that motherfucker quick.
Well,
So he had 2 OC jobs. One was in Miami when it was done over there, and the U of Cincinnati. He was McVay's quarterback coach, and was the last hire of the NFL season.
he was. Cincinnati took a while.
Yes, and the defensive coordinator job took even longer because they waited so long to hire the coach, but the people they offered the job to didn't want it. So their DC is either the 3rd or the 4th pick that they actually wanted. But it's Lou Anarumo, who was Zach's friend at Miami when they worked in Miami. So he had to go get his homeboy who he worked with because nobody else wanted the job. So when you look at 26 in overall offense, last in defense,
You get what you pay for.
There's a reason. So that's when you sick, it starts from the top down. Then they have a what do you call that? A talent gap is the word. I don't know if they would have been as bad as they were if AJ doesn't go down for the year because he wins against the Ravens boys at least once.
Yep. Yeah.
So they might not be fighting for the number 1 pick right now. But so the question is, why is the head coaching part of the problem, right? The answer is remove all offending parties. But I doubt if they do that because they just hired him. We all know y'all division. They do not fire coaches after 1 year. He probably gets the Brian Flores treatment where he gets to break it down and then get a chance to build it back up. I don't personally think he deserves it. I don't think they play hard for him like they play hard in Miami. I think he was, I mean, anytime it takes that long to hire him and nobody else wants to work with him, I think you're starting in the hole. But they're stuck with him. So that's one answer that would not help them get better, in my opinion. Draft picks. I guess we can focus on the number 1 pick. They have a choice. It's going to be, what's his name? Is it Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
The racist tweeter from 2013.
Uh-oh. That's all of them. Shout out to Mike Casantini. It's Joe Burrows or Chase Young. Who do you take?
You need everything.
Yeah, franchise quarterback. But you can only get one at number 1. You got a transcendent defensive player or someone who looks like a franchise quarterback. Who do you take? And then if we ask Kenyon, we might get a different answer. They already have a quarterback. Who do you take? Like, I don't even know how to answer that because.
Well, so you asking us? Because oh.
But that's the point. Like, we're trying to see how can we fix this. But that's a legit question where you're like, okay, do you take this transcendent player or do you take Joe Burrows, who may be a franchise quarterback, but he's not. I don't think he's transcendent.
Or he could be Andy Dalton.
Right. But you need a quarterback. Do you pass up a quarterback or do you try and trade back in? But Chase Young is, in my opinion, it's hard to pass up.
Goldilocks is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know who Goldilocks
Him.
is. Oh, okay.
He has Goldilocks.
Golden
Okay.
locks.
Yeah, it's, in my opinion, that's hard to pass up. You take generational players, and I think he's a generational player. But it's the Bengals. So,
Geno Atkins.
They don't get many of those.
Yeah. Dad, you have the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Denver's sitting at 3-6, and they lead the league in heartbreaks this year. There's an overarching answer to all of this, but I think let's start with something specific. Next year they're going to have about $68 million in cap space.
Okay.
So they have a lot of cash in the bank to do some things. They need to move on from a lot. There's a few free agents that they need to lock down. They just need to pick the right ones, but they need to just completely let a lot of people walk and rebuild. But the overarching thing that they need to do, which they're not going to do, but they should do,
They
is
gotta
they
know
need
where
to
you're going.
move on from John Elway. John Elway is the Lord and Savior of the city of Denver, but he cannot pick a quarterback to save his life. And I think Flacco's deal expires at the end of next year, so you got to think about potentially cutting Flacco. The rookie that's hurt, we don't know if he's ready yet. So if you cut Flacco, are you prepared to turn the reins over to somebody you haven't even seen play yet? Then
can't do no worse.
They're probably going to wind up somewhere in like the 4th pick or so. So who's going to be available as far as like if you go the quarterback route? If the Bengals go the Burrow route, then what's next after that?
Justin
You go to
Herbert.
Justin Herbert if he gets there, because you're talking about Miami being in that mix. Probably the Giants will probably be fine with Danny Dimes, I guess. But will he get there? The thing is this: you just have to do a whole overhaul. You just got to.
Vic stay?
I think they're playing for Vic. They've been in every freaking game, damn near.
Kid, they win those games if he could coach.
Or if they had talent, is there not a talent gap in Denver?
Oh, absolutely. Vic is doing his part.
I think another pick that Elway made that has really sort of bit him in the butt. He hasn't done good with his offensive line picks. Garrett Bowles has been a bust. I think he's missed there as well. Because when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, defensively, they've had some pieces. I mean, Von Miller's there. They lucked into Bradley Chubb. That's worked, even though Bradley Chubb got hurt this year. their secondary has been pretty respectable.
Chris Harris don't want to be there either.
Yeah, but where they've missed is they've missed obviously at quarterback, and they've also missed on the line. They lucked into Philip Lindsay.
Yep.
Philip Lindsay has been really good. Royce Freeman has not been bad. That's a nice little 1-2 combination. But, the most important positions on offense are the line and quarterback, and that's where Elway's missed. I'm not mad
Which
at
is where he should be good at.
One would think. Kev, you have Flores's Miami Dolphins.
Listen, this was a lot easier before the Dolphins tripped and fell in the 2 wins. Because the prescription that Omar gave was exactly what the Dolphins needed to do. But now they done complicated this number 1 pick. So hoping, let's just say if I was them, they're probably going to have around 117, according to Spot Track, 117 million in cap space. And I would also start from scratch, as they've made it very clear this is what we're doing. Shit ain't going to change next year. We just need some time to build. So you start from scratch, Kenyon, just like you said, the most important position is offensive line, quarterback. But if they can't get let's just say the best quarterback available, the one that's on their board, goes to the Bengals if they have that pick, I would go after Chase Young and try to develop talent to put around the quarterback when you find him. Because, again, no one's expecting much from Miami next year, probably the year or 2 years after that. So I would go best play available. So if we can get Chase Young, and in free agency, because the offensive tackle position is so important, I wouldn't trip if they overpaid a little just to get someone they could count on. Because what you don't want to do is draft a bunch of rookie linemen to put in front of a quarterback that you're not sold on, and then we got David Carr again.
Right.
So if I was them, I would just solidify those and spend the next couple years solidifying those positions through free agency, whether it be a let's say a weapon, a wide receiver, tight end, somebody that a young quarterback can rely on, offensive tackle, and then try to build just talent across the board. Because it's would you call it a talent gap?
Yeah.
It's just the gap. It's just nothing there. So if I'm them, I'm going to try to solidify those positions as quickly as you can.
They hope that Burrows goes number 1 so they can get
and it makes it a much easier pick. But just in terms of what they don't want to do though is overpay in free agency. They end up in salary cap hell like they were the last few years. But if you're going to pay somebody, front load those first couple years, so in the back end, if you got to get out, you can get out.
What's ironic, you talk about them needing O-line help.
They had one, but hey, they got picks. They got hella picks. How many picks do they have?
A lot. I believe
13 or something like that?
16. Maybe.
All of them.
Yeah. Junior Blue, you have the team in Washington. Bruce Allen is a mess. Okay. And then your quarterback that you took in the first round this year.
Help me.
So last week it was help me. He was telling his O-line to help me. This week
I'm flicking it up for the gram.
flicking it up for the gram.
We winning.
Junior Blue, what's the prescription?
First, they need to hire a coach.
They do.
Well, yeah.
Because Callahan is not the
Forgot about
answer.
Okay.
I actually had Matt Eberflus from
The defensive coordinator for the Colts.
I feel like in the NFC East, you're not too far behind the leaders. If you want to call the leaders the Eagles and the Cowboys, neither one of them are world beaters. They both have their issues also. So first, I would cut Josh Norman. Save yourself about $12.5 million.
Oh, he getting cut.
Yeah, save yourself about $12.5 million. Then we need to figure out what to do with Trent Williams. Your worst case scenario is you waive him and you still save yourself $12.5 million.
And they could have gotten an asset.
Exactly.
But whatever.
Exactly. You should have traded
Bruce
him.
Allen.
You should have traded him. If you don't trade him, your worst case is that you waive him and you still, I think it's like $3 million dead money, but you save $12.5 million.
Right.
So now that pushes you up to about $75 million in cap space. They're still paying Alex Smith. I think he's got about a $58 million hit. No, a $32 million hit next year.
He'll be on the roster.
cap, and he'll be on the roster. Exactly.
Rehabbing for free.
Yes, he should.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he most likely will never play again.
Right.
So that does limit what they can do, but they have given up 35 sacks so far this season, so they need offensive line help. Dwayne Haskins, I'm personally not sold on him, but maybe he showed enough to where they're like, okay, let's move forward with him. So I would say in their draft, they need to draft Tristan Wirfs, from offensive tackle from Iowa. He looks like he.
Are you sure?
It ain't the Raiders, but he looks like he could help them out, especially if they're with losing Trent Williams. So I also feel like they need to go out on the free agent market and get somebody, because they have to re-sign Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Re-sign him to a team-friendly deal. I don't think he's going anywhere, but they need somebody on the opposite side of him. I think Judah's a free agent. I don't know if you guys keep him. We all know Clowney is going to secure a bag somewhere.
Big time.
And
see what you did
you
there.
know, if you put him on the opposite side of Kerrigan, I think that defensive line steps up. You know, and then you can use
They're missing Preston Smith, to your point.
Exactly.
Green Bay took away Preston Smith.
So
they're missing
their
that. defense,
although they almost have 30 sacks this season, so their defense has played okay. It's just their offense is averaging 13 points a game, and their defense is on the field the whole game.
That's right.
And then you have Toast on the corner and Josh Norman, who's sitting back, can jump over bulls, but can't cover can't cover nobody.
We have the tape.
Exactly. So I don't think their defense is far off. So they need to work on protecting the quarterback and getting some kind of weapons. Jordan Reed is going to be with Zach Thomas.
He's a human concussion. Yeah. He's in the room somewhere.
What year was Vernon Davis drafted?
He's still playing.
1987.
Exactly. So, you know.
Did you say 87? Wow, I did too. That's great.
The Johnson brothers. So, you know, they need to give him some sort of weapons, because without weapons, you know, a good quarterback can look average. So if you're an average quarterback, you need something out there.
Right.
Geis needs to, I mean, I hate to say it, but Geis needs to put AP out to pasture.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to move forward with AP. You know, send AP to a team. Let AP go do his Frank Gore thing and go to a team who needs a veteran running back. And I think if you put those things together, the team in Washington might be able to compete. And then even further down the line might be good.
I wonder if they look at 49ers DC.
Robert Saleh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a hot commodity.
Do you think he can handle being a head coach?
If he doesn't stroke out.
Yeah, he is.
Stroke out. Stroke out.
I can see Snyder wanting some young energy to rile up the fan base.
I can't see any free agents,
No.
particularly of the
Wanting to go
Negro
there.
persuasion,
Nope.
wanting to go to Washington. I think Bruce Allen has absolutely, positively just destroyed that franchise. And Snyder, it wasn't like Snyder had a great reputation to begin with before, and just seeing how this Trent Williams situation has panned out. They've got a tough road to hoe.
It's only two solutions: sell the team, change the name.
Yeah, right. I have the other team in the NFC East, the New York Football Giants. They're 2-9. For me, it's real simple. Listen, they found their quarterback. Okay. They've got some pieces on the edge. I like the Golden Tate trade has worked out for them. Darius Slayton, they found a diamond in the rough. Evan Ingram, when he plays, is useful. I don't even mention Sterling Shepard because he's in the same dark room as Zach Thomas and Jordan Reed and Brandon Cooks.
All year.
But he's there. And then obviously they have Saquon. They've made investments. Gettleman is known for making investments along the line. They've got, they got Hernandez that they drafted. They paid money for Nate Solder. He hasn't been great, but whatever. The money is invested. It's there.
Better than they had.
And he's been a little bit better. Exactly. You flip over on the defensive side, they've got pieces defensively. Right now, they're number 2. They're sitting in the catbird seat because the number 1 team is definitely going to take a quarterback, whether they should or not, whatever. So Chase Young, and his name has been thrown about by all of us, but Chase Young to the New York Giants, with them re-signing Leonard Williams, who they just traded for, and they got $63 million in cap space right now, so they can pay Leonard Williams. You draft Chase Young, and all of a sudden now you've got something going. The only thing they really need to do, because I think all of that is common sense, they need to get rid of Pat Shurmur.
Yeah.
Okay? Pat Shurmur was a head coach before in Cleveland, and I think he won a grand total of 1 game in the 2 years he was there. he's showing more of the same now. There are some people that just they are good coordinators, and that's okay.
Like most
okay,
of the NFL
so
coaches.
so while you have young pieces, you probably got one more year of cheap labor out of Saquon. You got your quarterback that you stumbled into. Go get a head coach that knows how to win and that can help you win now. Do the smart, reasonable thing. They're going to get an extra third rounder for losing Landon Collins. They're going to get probably 3 7th rounders as compensatory picks. So you've got picks, Gettleman. Listen, this is your way to continue to tell everybody else, I told you so, by helping Daniel Jacobs, keep adding the young talent, but go get a head coach.
It sounds like it's a race for the second pick.
Pretty much.
First pick's locked.
And luckily for them, the difference between the number 1 team in that division and the last place team is what?
It's not
2
much.
games, 3 games.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, the top is falling.
It's not much. The Falcons is here for everybody, and part of the reason why I did this is because, well, one, they're capped out. There's nothing that they can do. Everybody has been paid. Okay, this is pretty much. I believe the number was 15 out of 22 day one starters from this season. Those 15 players were starters on their Super Bowl team. Nothing has changed with them. They haven't given up picks. They've made picks, but for some reason, they sit at 2 wins. I feel like the answer is obvious, right?
Penguin.
Exactly. That's the prescription.
Yeah, agree.
It's stale.
Agree.
It's gotta be stale. I think maybe it was Omar, or maybe Kevin. I don't know. One of y'all smart motherfuckers said that after the Super Bowl, like their soul just got taken. Yeah. They just haven't been able to get over that. Like you said, it's basically the same roster, basically the same everything.
Some will say Matty Ice never had a soul, but keep going.
But the team is just like, and the OC leaves. Now he's on a team that they're competing for championships or division winning.
Some would say they kept the wrong coach.
I mean,
Obviously.
we joke all the time. He's fighting for his fucking life. But that has to leave a stale taste in your mouth when you are minutes away from winning the Super Bowl and you lose in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it's the way they lost.
Yeah.
And they never recovered as a franchise, as coaches, players. They've never recovered.
You start second guessing shit.
So burn some sage.
But on the field, they still have some issues because that offensive line has regressed.
Mm.
Let's say so they need help there.
Mhm.
Their defense has 18 sacks so far this season. You had Vic Beasley, who
We're gonna get to him.
we said that when he had the 15 sacks that season, we said, hey, it's kind of odd because he don't really get pressure,
Right.
but when he get there, he gets the sack.
Right.
Well, now he's not getting pressure or the sacks.
Right.
So you take those things away, and all of a sudden you get on top of everything being stale, still being shell shocked from losing the Super Bowl. That's how you get to 2-9. You need a new head coach. I personally say if you hire Mike McCarthy, I think
that's a good fit.
Yeah, I think that would be a perfect fit for them, and they have enough talent to be back next year.
Right.
In a top of the division.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Yes.
That's insane when you can say that.
It's weird. It is one of the weirdest things, and I think the only reason why Arthur Blank hasn't pulled the trigger is because he's like just trying to figure out like
What happened?
what happened.
What happened?
So Junior Blue has already mentioned a couple of players. We're gonna do our secure the back check-in before we get to our game picks. I don't think we need to say anything about Austin Eckler. I think it is what it is. Reggie Ragland. No change, right?
No.
Jalen Ramsey, he's already
bag
gonna
secured.
he's trying to fight now. He's not worried about securing bags. Deshaun Watson, his bag is secured. Tyler Eifert, no. Greg Robinson, no. Robbie Anderson, Kev, 2 weeks in a row, touchdowns. Progress, right? But not really. Kenyon Drake, I think, is somebody.
Yes, he got out of Miami, and that's the win. Yep. Good for him.
Dak Prescott is making it happen. Eli, we don't need to talk about. You bring up Vic Beasley.
Hey,
No.
Les, what does that say next to Vic Beasley?
It's over.
Jameis Winston.
The most
Colorblind.
He is. Listen, I love me some Lamar, but Jameis Winston, by definition, is the most exciting player in football. because every time he drops back, you have no idea what's about to happen.
He's gonna stroke.
Must-see TV.
He's gonna stroke Bruce Arians out.
Well, he's
We
got
need to
pay him to do
rearrange
so.
that wording on that.
Pause, because he knew it was wrong.
With the Kango forward.
Danny Trevathan.
I don't know, Omar. You tell me.
His problem is his age, man. Like
He's not securing the bag.
He's not. Don't. He's underachieving. I think.
ha. He's securing the bag.
Yeah.
I think anybody in the secondary, if you're doing well,
Mm-hmm.
and we know Jadeveon, and last but not least, Marcus Peters.
Absolutely.
It was a joke a minute ago, but
Listen,
yo,
It's real now.
Yeah,
4 interceptions,
Well, three with us.
3-1 to the house
3,
with us.
1 to the house.
No,
He's got
two. in
two.
the house with us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
yeah,
got 3
yeah,
pick
yeah,
sixes
On the season.
on the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not near one of Jalen Ramsey's new teammates had his back
No.
because they knew him.
Yeah.
When they were barking at each other, the Rams players just kept walking. They was like, I'm not getting in the middle of that
Yeah,
shit.
no, 'cause he's really crazy.
Yeah.
Marcus Peters is really crazy.
Outside the gate.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch is his cousin. For real. All right, let's get to game picks before we get out of here. These are the records. I think we all just kind of held. Everybody had 5
Everyone-
losses.
Damn, I lost 100 wins.
You lost 100 wins though, Kev.
I'll
Yeah.
fix it.
Damn.
My bad.
Really?
It's a bad week.
Cost of living out here really is high. A day.
All right, real quick, we'll go through the Thanksgiving games. This is actually a shitty slate of games, if I'm being honest. Chicago, Detroit. Why should we watch Red O besides the fact that we like football?
There needs to be another reason because there isn't one.
Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys. Now listen, the Cowboys have not beaten a good team all year. And I mean, by good team, I mean a team
Winning
with
record.
a winning record all season. Jerry Jones has sounded the alarm.
Wild.
And still sounding.
And
He doubled down.
and then got backed up by Jason Witten. Was like, well, what do you want me to say? So Jason Garrett is, what is he doing, Devin?
Fighting.
Oh, he's fighting for his fucking life.
You gotta remind somebody they fighting. You done lost.
Maybe the fight is over.
the decision has been made.
Is the fight over? Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys, Junior Blue, who you got?
I got the Cowboys at home.
Cowboys at home, huh? Thanksgiving, Cowboys at home, Kev?
Hey, they either gotta do it or don't. Cowboys.
Yeah?
What
Yeah,
the
Cowboys.
fuck? Like, no other options.
No, they don't.
You got to get down where you mad at.
Is that what you're mad at?
Yeah.
Profound.
That?
Yeah, Cowboys, I guess.
Yeah, Cowboys.
Cowboys? Yeah, I think, we say the Cowboys haven't beaten a team with a winning record.
Hey, Les, here we go.
I know. Yeah, here we go. Nah.
one of them games.
The Bills don't beat good teams either.
I know.
They just had a trash ass schedule. They play in the AFC East. I think the Cowboys win at home. Saints, Falcons. Falcons, a little bit of a resurgence here. The Saints are who we thought they were. They had a nail biter there with Carolina. Anybody picking the Falcons?
No.
Didn't they play each other 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And Falcons
The
blast.
Falcons blasted them.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen again.
Rematch.
Saints.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the sexier games. We'll save the special one for last. Les, Raiders, Chiefs. Tell me one reason why the Raiders are going to win on the road in a must-win game for them.
Because they had a bye week last week. And they're showing up.
Wait,
They're showing up in KC this week.
Last time that
They had a field trip to New York.
Take a field trip.
Yeah, they went to go see cats or something.
These goddamn kids. Kev?
Chiefs.
Dev?
Chiefs.
I'm sorry, Les. Chiefs.
Yeah, that's not going to be one of the games that I picked to try to catch up. It's definitely going to be the Chiefs. Vikings, 8-3. No one's talking about Minnesota. We was shitting on Kirk Cousins at the beginning of the season.
He deserved it.
He kind of righted the ship.
Yep.
He has righted the ship.
What time and what day is the game?
The game is Sunday.
And what time is that game? Sunday night.
Sunday night game.
Oh, it's a Sunday night game.
No, I
thought that was
knew
Monday.
the answer. Well,
No.
It's one of the primetime games.
It is. Okay, Sunday night.
There's a point to this.
Listen, I'm going to stay with you. Yeah, take me home, brother. Take me home.
Kirk Cousins is trash in primetime.
It is the Monday night game.
It's the Monday night
Kirk
game.
Cousins on prime time. Shit,
Oh, so
Yeah.
you're picking the Seahawks?
Yes.
Kev?
this is a clean sweep. I know
See,
it.
yep.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think the Seahawks.
Oh, where did Mike go? He needs to be here.
He didn't want to.
There
Here
we
we
go.
go. Baltimore, San Francisco. It's simple math for me. I've been talking to the Johnson brothers all weekend. I call it how I see it. Listen,
Verse all you whores.
without even looking at numbers, and the numbers support this, without even looking at numbers, what I know about football is this. If you have an aggressive defensive line, which is why it was so annoying what Green Bay did this weekend, specifically Matt LaFleur, and if I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd be giving him the side eye the rest of the season. But if you have an aggressive defensive front, okay, they are pass rushers. There is one way to slow down a pass rush. What do you do, Redo?
You run the ball.
Thank you.
Hey, mix a screenplay in that motherfucker somewhere.
Say it again.
Omar, there's one thing that you must do. The only thing you can do to slow down an aggressive and attacking pass rush. What is that, Redo?
Hey, you trade up to the number 2 pick.
Because you
and
know
then-
what? They can't do nothing. It's going to be a bad game. I think they get exposed.
It's not exposed, it's just a bad matchup for them, I think, more than anything.
Well, we know some people.
10 a.m. sharp.
And
Junior Blue, do you agree?
They're going to feel some kind of
I'm
way.
going with the MVP.
Yeah.
You going with the MVP? What's the final score, Johnson Brothers?
Russell?
No.
38-17.
38-17?
I think weather's gonna play a factor. 26-20. Ravens.
26-20. Why is it that close?
Just that style of play. I don't want to be too confident. You know, I kiss to death everybody, so I think we're gonna be okay. But it's the game's on the East Coast.
It is
We
on the East
play a
Coast.
certain brand of football.
10 a.m. start time
10
for a
a.m.
West
sharp
Coast
for
team.
them. 1 o'clock for us. We eating lunch. So
42-10.
and Mike's delusional.
That might be the right
But no, come
I
on,
had
man.
35-14, and I think it's a slow slosh, and they get beat up and down the field. I do.
I hope you're right.
All right, well, this has been another episode of 32 Kings Road. Kevin, good to see you. It was a good weekend.
Oh, brother.
Yes,
Love you,
yes,
God. Thank you. Love you.
absolutely.
Glad to be here.
We will be back next week. As a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Check out our website, theleagueam.com. Our YouTube channel, please subscribe to and rate it, League Ambassadors. And we will see you next week. Cheerio.
Russell Wilson.
10 a.m. sharp.
Baltimore, I'm coming home.
They don't want you back.
We busted in. We broke down the door. We came to win. TLA season 4. It's a whole new game. We the agents of change. Whole new scope with a whole new range. It didn't exist, so we built our own lane. We all knew the risk. It's a cold ass game. But first and foremost, we reppin' the fans because we nothing but fans living out our dreams. Crossing the pond with these 32 teams. There's only one road and there's only 5 kings.